The night I gave birth in Douala, my mother-in-law looked at me and said something I will never forget. She said, "You are no longer needed." At first, I thought I misheard her, but then my husband laughed, and that's when I realized I had never been a wife. I had been a baby machine. You are no longer needed. Before I tell you what happened next, just know this. What this woman did nearly destroyed my life. So please, watch till the end. The maternity ward at Laquintinie Hospital smelled of antiseptic, sweat, and something metallic that clung to the back of your throat. The ceiling fan above me turned lazily, pushing warm, heavy air around the room. It didn't cool anything. It only moved the discomfort from one corner to another. My body felt hollow. 19 hours of labor had emptied me out completely. Every muscle ached. Every nerve felt exposed. The stitches burned with every slight movement. Even breathing felt like work. Outside the window, I could hear the distant buzz of okadas weaving through traffic, horns blaring, life continuing like nothing had happened. But inside that room, everything had changed. Kelvin wasn't there when it mattered most. He had been in and out during labor, stepping outside to answer calls, scrolling endlessly on his phone, whispering into conversations he never explained. Each time he came back in, he wore the same expression: detached, impatient, like he was waiting for something to finish. Not like a man about to become a father. When the nurse finally said, "It's a boy," Kelvin only nodded. No tears, no excitement, just a short smile, like a task had been completed. I should have understood then, but pain has a way of clouding truth. An hour later, she arrived, Madame Beatrice. You could always tell when she entered a room, not because she was loud, but because she carried control like perfume, heavy, unavoidable. She stepped into the ward dressed like she was heading to Sunday service in Bonapriso. Gold earrings catching the dim light, a perfectly tied wrapper, handbag tucked firmly under her arm. Everything about her said one thing: authority. She didn't greet me, didn't ask how I was, didn't even look at me. Her eyes went straight to the bassinet, to my baby. Without asking, she lifted him, held him close, rocked him slowly, and smiled. Something about that smile made my stomach tighten. It wasn't joy, it wasn't warmth, it was possession. Then she spoke. Calm, clear, sharp. You are no longer needed. For a second, the words didn't register. They floated in the air like something misplaced. "I beg your pardon," I whispered, my voice dry and fragile. She adjusted the baby against her chest like she hadn't just shattered something inside me. Then she looked at me the way people look at someone who doesn't understand something simple. She said, "From today, I be the real mother." A pause. "You don't finish your work." Silence swallowed the room. I blinked slowly. Maybe I misheard. Maybe I was still under medication. Maybe Kelvin laughed. Actually laughed. He leaned back in his chair, crossed his legs, and shook his head like it was all a joke. "Relax," he said casually. "You were only here to give birth." A pause. "A baby machine, that's all." And just like that, everything inside me went still. No anger, no tears, no shouting, just silence. Cold, heavy silence. The kind of silence that comes when the truth finally sits in front of you and refuses to leave. For 2 years, I had ignored too many signs, too many moments that didn't feel right, too many warnings I convinced myself were nothing. Madame Beatrice controlled everything. After her husband died, she ran the family like a commander. No one questioned her. No one challenged her. Not even Kelvin, especially not Kelvin. When I got pregnant after a year of pressure, things began to change. Slowly, subtly, but undeniably. She stopped saying "your baby," started saying "our son." Kelvin insisted I quit my job. I was an accountant in Aqua. I loved my work. But suddenly, Stress no good for pregnancy, he said. You should rest. Then they prepared the baby's room not in our apartment in Deido, but in their house in Bonaberry. I questioned it. Kelvin dismissed it. His mother smiled. The Ngasa family don't wait long for air. I ignored it. I told myself it was cultural, normal, nothing to worry about. Now, standing there, weak and bleeding, watching her hold my child like I didn't exist, I finally understood. This had never been about love. It had always been about ownership. My hands trembled beneath the hospital sheet, but my voice came out steady. Give me my baby. Her smile tightened. You need rest. Kelvin sighed. Don't start drama. Drama. That word again. Every time I spoke up, I was dramatic. Every time I cried, I was emotional. Every time I resisted, I was disrespectful. They had been rewriting me, slowly, carefully, turning me into someone unstable, someone easy to dismiss. But not anymore. I pushed the blanket aside. Pain shot through my body as my feet touched the cold floor, but I stood anyway. The room tilted slightly. My vision blurred. See, Kelvin muttered, she no even fit stand well. I didn't respond. I walked, slowly, carefully, toward the door. Behind me, Madame Beatrice said softly, Good, she sabi say she not ready. I stepped into the hallway and kept walking. At the nurse's station, everything looked too bright, too sharp, too real. A nurse rushed toward me. Madam, you should be resting. I need to make a call, I said quietly. She hesitated, then guided me to a small office. My hands were shaking as I dialed. Linda picked up immediately. Before I spoke, she knew. Angela, what happened? My throat tightened. They said I was just a baby machine. Silence. Then, I knew it, she said coldly. They took my baby. What? My mother-in-law said she's the mother now. Another silence, but this one was dangerous. Then Linda spoke again, calm, sharp, focused. Angela, listen carefully. I'm listening. Do you trust me? Yes. Good. A pause. Tomorrow morning, everything will change. That night, I didn't sleep. Even when the nurses forced them out, even when the room became quiet, even when exhaustion begged me to rest, I stayed awake, thinking, replaying everything. The documents Kelvin made me sign, the way his mother talked about inheritance, the pressure, the control. By morning, I understood everything. At exactly 6:12 a.m., Kelvin returned, looking relaxed, too relaxed. His mother followed, carrying authority like always. She picked up the baby again, without asking. Good morning, she said. I didn't respond. Then, buzz. Kelvin frowned. Who is this? He opened the message and froze. What nonsense is this? Another buzz. His face drained. Madame Beatrice grabbed the phone. Her eyes scanned, her lips parted. Jesus. Another message. Screenshots. Another woman, pregnant, 7 months. Promises, money, secrets. Everything exposed. Then, knock. The door opened. Hospital administrators, a police officer, a lawyer. The lawyer smiled. I represent Madame Angela. Kelvin stepped back. This is a misunderstanding. The officer shook his head. We'll sort that at the station. I stood, slowly, walked to the bassinet, picked my child, held him close, and looked directly at Kelvin. You said I was just a baby machine. A pause. In this life, I tightened my grip on my son. Pikin no be property. They took him away. The door closed. Silence returned. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was peace. My phone rang. Linda, so? She asked. I smiled. Soft, setting. Everything don't scatter. She laughed loudly. I tell you. I looked down at my son. His tiny fingers curled around mine, and for the first time, I felt something real. Not fear, not confusion, power. Welcome to the world, I whispered. This time, your mama dey here for you, and nobody. If this story touched you or made you feel something, don't forget to like and share. And if you want part 2, where Kelvin tries to come back, subscribe because it gets even deeper.